Okay, so this video is a joke. It is 100% just a joke that I thought of on the spot, and it contains a lot of the usage of stereotypes, largely just cultural stereotypes, like how Scottish are really angry and badass, who will crush everything into oblivion. That type of stereotype. But if you're sensitive to that sort of thing, don't watch this video. And I do accents in the video, and I normally when I do an accent, I do it. I'm really good at doing accents, because what I do is I listen to people who natively just have that accent anyway, and then I emulate that. And I recorded this entire thing just on the spot, and I did not fully attempt to go into my accents, and I even slipped out and mentioned it in the video when that happened. Now, I only really focused on white countries, even though I myself am not actually white, but I'm native. I'm what is known as Native American, and just really fucking pale. So I look white, but I'm not. And I focus on white guys, so I don't know if that's racist. Probably not, though. Probably. I hope not. I really need to think things through. Too bad I don't think. Anyway, enjoy the video. Hello there, everybody. My name is Plasma, and welcome to a little thing that I like to call How Vodka is Made Around the World. Because we are going to explore how vodka is made around the world. Because you have your classic drink that is vodka. It comes from Russia, of course. We all know that. It exists as being a Russian drink. However, it moved all around the world eventually, and each different place obviously has its own way of making it. It's obviously not all made the exact same way, because, well, Russians have their own way of doing it. I'm pretty sure Scotsmen have a very different way of doing it. Now we'll start with the classic way of producing it, the way they do it over in Russia. Now the way they do it over in Russia is they take the potato and they make it destroy itself entirely while sitting there menacingly. They might ride a few bears on their way to do so, but all in all, that's what they're doing. They are forcing the potato to destroy itself. Now, once the potato has destroyed itself, now because of the nature of destroying yourself, you can't get through the whole thing without dying, so there's going to be little bits and pieces left. And so what they do is they take a handgun and they crush it with the handle of the handgun. It's just very simple process. Just crush the leftover potatoes into a bowl. Now they take that bowl and they put it in an interrogation room and stare at it until it ferments. And then they do whatever the fuck else is put into vodka to make it vodka. And then they smack a label on the bottle and call it vodka. There we go. Next we have what I think might be my favorite way of making vodka, the Scottish way of making vodka. Because first, when you make it, you've got to take the potato and you've got to crush it with your bare hands into oblivion. And then once that's done, you just very gently place it into a barrel or a bowl or some shit, whatever it fits into. You've got a lot of juice because you crushed it into oblivion with your bare hand. And then you take that and you bring it into a little private room, real nice, like very gently bring it over, and you scream at it for 5 hours, and then you go home. And whenever it ferments, it's ready. Then of course you have the Irish way. And the Irish way is not too dissimilar from the Scottish way. I'm slipping back into a Scottish accent here. What you do for the Irish way, you take that potato. Make sure it's an Irish potato, by the way. Each potato is a different kind of potato. There's so many types of potato, but when it's an Irish potato, that's your Irish vodka. Now we know it's a Russian drink, but when it's made in Ireland, you've got to use the Irish potatoes. And basically what you do with the Irish potatoes, you take those potatoes, you pop them in one of those things that you crush wine grapes in, you know, those. And then you dance a little jig on them. And after that jig is done, you pour it all in a barrel and you throw it at Dublin Spire. Now, obviously there's more to Ireland than just Dublin. So, instead of having to be in Dublin, you just have to drive to Dublin. You could be over in Kerry, and then you've got your own way of making it over in Kerry, which is exactly the same as everywhere else. You just have to drive on over to Dublin Spire so that you can chuck it into it, and then you can just flip off Dublin Spire and call it a waste of time, money and resources. Then of course you take it home, you fall asleep with it, drunk off your arse, pour in a little bit of whiskey on it so it can have a drink too. You know, you always want your drink to also have a drink. Tastes better that way. So you pour a pint of a whiskey or a pint of Guinness, doesn't matter which. Either way it works. Probably Guinness. That one has that one's better for you. It's more nutritious, so you can do that. Now after that, you drink some too, because you don't want to be left out. And then you pass out drunk next to it, and you go home and wait for it to ferment. Then of course you have the American way. Now the American way is you take a gun and you shoot the potato 50,000 times until you finally run out of bullets at number 50,000. And then you put more bullets in the gun. And you take what's left of the potato, which, let's just face it, there's a lot of potato there, because, you know, it's got to be a big enough potato to fit 50,000 rounds into it. Now you put that potato into like something that can withstand bullets, and you stir it by shooting it 50,000 more times. And after that's done, well, you throw the gun in and you just claim it's American. Now, the English way of doing it, well, that one's a little more simple, suffice to say. Now, to make it the English way, you just need to take the potato and you take it around the entire world, conquering everything in sight and completely getting away with it because you have just such a brilliant accent. No one pays any attention because, you know, it's all in the past and the accent's just so amazing and forgivable, and there's so many English accents. I don't even know what I'm doing. I think I'm doing London or something. Either way, you bring it across the world and just conquer as many places as you can on the way, just on this nice voyage. Now, obviously it's sustained a few wounds because it's not an easy battle to conquer a country, or a continent even, and that's the English way. You've got to conquer things, you've got to colonize. But of course, your potato's been wounded, so after its long life and glory of conquering the world, you must put it out of its misery. Now, I know you've become very good friends together, but by this point, but believe me, it's just necessary to kill it. Just stab it with a bayonet, stab it with a sword, or shoot it with a musket. Either of those work. Or you can beat it with one of those old-timey police officer batons. Any of those work. And then you have a really fancy funeral while you put it in the ground and wait for it to ferment, then dig it back up and put a British label on it. Always, always put a Union Jack on the bottle. You have to make sure that people know it was made in England. Now, I am Canadian, so I have to, of course, include the Canadian way. And I'm not going to go across the entire world right now. If another episode is asked for, I'll go the rest of the way around the world. But I have to include the Canadian way. It's an obligation. Now, for the Canadian way, you take this giant bottle of maple syrup and pour it all over the potato. And then you have your 3 pet moose just trample it like 20 times. As many times as it'll take for the moose to get the job done. Then you scrape up the potato, and you have to apologize to it, of course. You absolutely have to apologize to it. No matter what, you just need to apologize. And don't forget to exclaim the letter A bunch of times during the process. It's very imperative that you do that. And you just scrape that into a barrel. Probably a barrel, I don't fucking know. And then you apologize again, and then leave it in a corner, apologize again, walk away, grab some more maple syrup, walk back, apologize again, pour the maple syrup into it, apologize again, then leave and wait for it to ferment. So this has been the how vodka is made around the world. I hope you enjoyed.